You going upstairs? Would you?
All right.
find my pair of glasses?
Welcome.
Over on my desk, where's my-
Welcome to the CAPC meeting, November 21st, 2024, 4 p.m., Eureka Springs Auditorium. I'm Steve Holyfield, the chair. Like a roll call, please. Bradley?
Present.
Present.
Heather Wilson.
Present.
Bradley Tate Green, present. Steve Holyfield.
Present.
Shira Faust.
Present.
And Robert Schmid is not here.
Absent.
And David Avanzino's absent.
And Colin Polk
And Colin Polk.
with notice. But we do have a quorum with the four of us here tonight, so. And we have Ty and Mike here. Cool. Welcome, everyone. All pager cell phones, please turn to silent. Agenda updates. Commissioners may add to the agenda with a motion, second, or vote. Anybody want to add or take away anything on the agenda tonight?
Thank you. I do.
Okay, Heather?
Make a motion to remove the rubric for event requests because that's going to be our next workshop.
I'm sorry?
On new business, item C, rubric for event requests, I make a motion to remove it from tonight's agenda because that will be the topic of our next workshop.
Okay. So
Second.
remove 10C, and it's going to be our topic for the next workshop, so we won't discuss it tonight. Any other changes? Anybody?
None for me.
Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Shira made the motion, Bradley seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have agenda. Do we have any minutes?
We did receive them in an email. I've looked over them. I don't know if they're in here. Excuse me.
Let me see. Danielle. Meeting. All right, for
Here you
the
go.
regular meeting, October 23rd. Is that the one you're looking at?
Correct.
Do we have a motion to accept the minutes for the October 23rd meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the October 23rd meeting.
Second.
Shira made the motion. Heather seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Advertising liaison report. Our advertising liaison person is not here tonight. He's absent with notice, so we'll just, unless Mike wants to add anything there.
I'll just say this, that Colin and I did have a discussion in regards to the 2025 Madden Media proposal, and we discussed that at length as to any things that we would like to see differently, and right now he is pretty much status quo with the way it was presented. We are not talking about that this evening, but we will be at our December meeting, so he was very happy with what he saw, by the way. So.
Great, thank you. Tourism Director's Report.
I just have a question. Financial report first.
Okay.
I don't care. We can do either one if you want to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Number 6. I didn't want to leave Ty out.
I'll zip right past that one. I looked at the minutes and thought the same thing. Financial report, Ty?
All right, you should have a copy, I believe. The first page is a balance sheet. Pertinent number on there, I guess, would be our bank accounts has a balance of $1,974,000 currently at the end of October. You can peruse that if you have any questions about anything. Page 3 starts the profit and loss report. The first column, first section is the current month of October, actual to budget. The second section is the year-to-date through October 31st with the budget. And then the third section has the total budget for the year to compare. For October, tax remittance was $181,000. budget for October was $215,000, so it was under budget by about $34,000. And for year-to-date, as of October 31st, actual collections, and just a reminder, this is the profit and loss, so this is on a cash basis, so it's not.
Which page are you on?
I'm on page 3. And it is on a cash basis, so it's not, even though that number is in October, that was actually received in October, not revenue for
So
October.
we are on a cash accrual.
Right.
Okay.
So, year-to-date, as of October 31st, we had collections of $1,451,000. The budget was $1,484,000, so it's about $33,000 under budget for the year. If you look on page 4, look at expenses. The expenses for October were $184,000. The budget was $184,000, so we were right on for expenses for the month. Year-to-date, expenses, $1,730,000, and budget $1,888,000. So we were a little under, about $157,000 under budget on expenses for the year. Total net income for October was about $11,000. The budget was $44,000, so we're under budget about $33,000 for the month. Total year-to-date as of October 31st, actual net income was negative $125,000. The budget was negative $264,000, so we're actually $139,000 better than we thought we would be according to the budget.
Okay.
And on the last page, page 5, this is the one that's based on actual collection months. So this compares actual collections by month from 2023 to 2024. Cumulative total through September for 2024, $1,445,000. Last year at the end of October was $1,463,000, so we're just about $17,000 short of last year, year to date. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ty?
I don't believe so.
Any outstanding?
There are some. I'm working on cleanup right now to get a better handle on that, but I know there are some. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
Any other questions? By your motion to accept the financial report,
Salute, or so moved.
or a second?
I'll second it.
Bradley made the motion, Shira seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Now we go back to tourism report.
Thank you. One of the things that I think is interesting with Ty's report, it's a very similar report to our neighbors throughout Northwest Arkansas Tourism Association. Their chair last week sent out it's kind of a questionnaire to basically all the cities, how are your numbers stacking up? But everybody's sort of in the same boat. Everybody's down a bit. Some areas are doing quite well. But then on the same token, no one has just jumped out of the box, so to speak, with huge numbers thus far for 2024. So I think we're all pretty similar in many aspects. Some of the key elements from October 24. October may be one of the biggest months we've seen in Eureka Springs, and you know the thing that we are doing is we collect the mail every day, and it seems like we keep getting a little bit more money in every day. So when we get to the end of the month, we'll be able to stack up and say that we may have had a record month. We'll see. But a variety of elements kind of contribute to that this month, potentially. While the collections are coming in, I think we're maybe seeing some of the best of histories. For instance, the zombie crawl, estimated numbers as high as 20,000. I don't know whether that's true or not, but more likely 8,000 to 10,000 people showed up. These are the biggest numbers we've seen for that event. Some of our food vendors ran out of supplies. Traffic was backed up for 30 to 45 minutes all over town. Parking was virtually non-existent, but the trolley system did great work in getting people to and fro. Compliments to the Eureka Springs Police Department, and through social media, a lot of compliments about how well it was managed. And while we did push the limits, I think, on the numbers of people, we found out that Eureka Springs is very adept at handling large numbers of people, which is a very good thing. Similarly, a brand new festival, the Horror Film Festival, brought in films from 22 different countries, which is great. And they had over 600 weekend passes, which again is a fantastic number. One of the keynotes from the festival that we haven't really shared out too much is a lot of different people that are producers came to the event looking to see how this was handled. And a couple of comments were this was one of the best well-attended festivals of its niche, so to speak, that they'd seen. And these are some people that came in from basically the movie industry to take a look at what was going on. While not breaking records, the movie Pass the Ammo made its way back through the auditorium. We haven't seen it in a long time. It was done in 1985, shot here in this building for the most part. And we had a really substantial number of people not only to come see that movie, but also stay over for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which, unless you've experienced it, you just haven't experienced anything. What a hoot, and a lot of fun. It was a great event, and they booked it again for 2025. And I'll back up a little bit. The Zombie Crawl not only produced record numbers, but the Horror Festival did such a good job that he's actually booked it again for 2025 as well, in the entire week, as a matter of fact. Take a moment to talk about some technology advancements within the CAPC and this building. Over the past week, we've had two different companies come in and install fiber optic, which is still waiting to be hooked up with the Cox modems, but we will be hooking that up fairly soon. This is for the people out there that know these things, it's a gigabyte up and a gigabyte down. Right now, we have, during one of the films that we showed recently, the 1946 movie, the download speeds were slower than the upload speeds. And we were very concerned about what was going to happen in the middle of the movie. If it buffered out, it stopped, what we would do. So by going to this technology, which is a substantial improvement over what we have with copper wiring, the fiber will bring, again, a gigabyte up and down, but it's going to do several other things too. It's going to help with our day-to-day office communications. Our phone system is dependent upon the internet to be able to work. In other words, if Danielle wants to transfer a call to me and doesn't go through the copper lines, it goes through the internet. Don't ask me why. It just does. So that's going to make that more efficient. In other words, we're dropping calls when people call us. Our live stream of meetings such as this will be dramatically improved because of the speed. This is going to affect all city meetings that we have down in this facility, and obviously anything that we stream live upstairs. One of the other pluses to this is the actual bandwidth that is going to be available to people who are patrons of the auditorium. When they come in here, they want to log on. They want to be able to see things, and it's been a problem for a lot of people because of either their phone or whatever their vendor is. But this is going to substantially increase the amount of availability to people, that coming into the aud. So we're really excited about that. One of the other things that's a little bit more benign, but we, over the past week, have all switched over to phones that are basically through, in this case, Verizon. We have been using our individual personal phones for all of our business. This is not good. Phones can be FOIA'd, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense that we would put ourselves in that particular position. We were probably maybe the only department, I don't know exactly, that was not utilizing a phone that was authorized by the office itself. So that's already gone into a place, and we have a new series of phone numbers we'll be handing out to you all. We mentioned this last week during the workshop that, I was counting up the day that we've got almost 50 events for the month of December on the calendar. I think this probably is a record. If it's not, it should be. And we continue to have people calling about different things. And for 2025, we already have about 150 events logged on. And again, more today that came in looking for spaces, and right now we're even telling one of our promoters, you can't have that weekend, it's already gone. So, what we're seeing is really an uptick in the desirability of the auditorium as an event facility, but also just the fact that people are very interested in coming to Eureka Springs. So generally, it's a fantastic thing. Some upcoming things, free to be New Year's Eve. The Arkansas Parks Tourism and Heritage Department has offered up their YouTube channel for us to use for live streaming. They're also helping us promote the event statewide. We're very pleased with this help from Shay Lewis and Delaney Thomas at Parks and Tourism. We've had some good conversations with them, and they're excited about the event. And oddly enough, our sister county, well, not maybe our sister, but one of our counties in the state, which is Garland County, Hot Springs, is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Arlington Hotel. So they put a lot of capital investment into that facility itself, through advertising. But they took a look at Eureka Springs and said, yeah, you need the love too. So they're helping us out with that. So we're very pleased with their participation. The CAPC team, with the exception of Ty, will be in Gulf Shores December 9th through 11th. Madden has put on a 3-day seminar, well, 2.5-day seminar, bringing in some high roller type people. One of the speakers is one of the people from Disney. He talked about marketing in general, tourism as a development tool that Disney's employed over the years. And then I think our relationship with Madden only will grow and increase because of that. We're really happy that they were able to go ahead and invite us and bring us down, and we'll be visiting with some of their clients from around the United States as well. We're one of many, but on the same token, we are obviously one of the people that, I don't know if they drew names out of the hat or not, but we got called in, and we're very happy about that. Other than that, it is just a very busy time right now because of the close to the end of the year. On the same token, we're fully staffed and we'll be here at all times, and encouraging everyone to visit eurekasprings.com for the updates, which are on a continual basis. One other thing, and I'll mention this in regard to Madden as well, as we looked at the 2025 proposal they have submitted, they are looking at not a revamp of our website, but a revamp of the technology on the back engine of the website. We have a website with a tremendous amount of content, and because of that content, it has a tendency sometimes to be a little slower load, and it doesn't provide us necessarily with the opportunity to make changes on the fly that we'd like to. So we're going from a program that's called Cornerstone to a program basically well-known, WordPress. And WordPress will be the basic engine behind visiteurekasprings.com. That's good news for us. It allows people like Caitlin to be able to work easily within the framework of the website, and we can add things immediately. And I'll say one last thing about adding things immediately. If you look on the website today, you will find the culinary landscape bright and bold. We were able to go ahead and move that around and put it right up there. We've had requests for that, and we've honored those requests to make sure people can see that movie, which has earned some awards over the past few months. So, any questions? I'd be happy to answer those.
So everybody be Gulf Shores, December 9th to the 11th.
With the exception of Ty.
So you'll be answering the phone, Ty?
You bet.
Okay. Just a little clarification, and I know you didn't mean to mislead people, but FOIA requests can be for private telephones and private emails and stuff too. So I don't want people to think just because you're using your personal phone, you can't be FOIA. You can't be. So, cool. Anybody have any questions for Mike? Doing good. Thank you. I'm sorry. I want to apologize. I don't know what. I am wide awake, but I keep messing up this agenda. How about the public comments? Anybody out there for public comments? I skipped right over it. So
I'm just trying to warm things up.
I guess so.
Keeping people.
Well, I don't have public comments, but Mike wanted me to present a couple things to you from the CAPC office and group tourism. Today I attended the American Traveler Trends Forum, and basically it talks about what the trends are coming for 2025. So some things I wanted to point out. This is a group of travel writers, VPs, CEOs from Travel Adventure, and then MMGY, which is a leading travel marketing organization for the United States and the world. But some of the takeaways from today were that American travelers are looking for authentic experience. Over lodging and venue, 60% of travelers are looking for the best places to eat, exceptional and authentic culinary experiences. Travel for Americans is focused on family travel and multi-generational travel, and usually falls within 100 to 500 mile radius of their home. This is more flexible and affordable for Americans. So where we were looking at, people were asking, why don't we market further out to places like California and New York? Statistics and the trends show that most Americans want that travel within 100 to 500 miles radius of their home. So, anybody that's asking, why don't we market way out? Well, this trend tells us that we want to stick within that 100 to 500 mile radius. So that was something that was enlightening to me. Americans want to travel within the United States first before any other destination. Americans want to spend time experiencing their destination with their family and friends. The focus is on more adventure, outdoors, time in nature, and exploring, as well as historical sites. The quality of the experience is important to American travelers, and they are willing to pay a little more for quality. American travelers crave authenticity and tend to look for influences from other experienced travelers. So word of mouth is key here. Blogs, blog posts, our internet comments, those play highly on if people are going to travel to our destination or not. Americans want personal, firsthand experience that is unique to them, one that no one else gets, a one-of-a-kind personal insider trip that they can take back home and talk about where no one else can imitate it. This is important for the industry to know because the focus is now on those positive personal relationships that take an experience to the next level. There is a distinct difference in marketing authenticity and actually having an authentic experience. So this plays into hospitality training. So for 2025, we have set a hospitality training to take place here in Eureka Springs from February 11th to the 13th. We are working right now with hospitality professors at ATU and Arkansas University to come in and help us with that. Even maybe some grant money involved so that we can actually offer a certificate program for that training. So it would mean something to the workforce for them to get a certificate as well as for the industry. So that's kind of where we're headed and what we're working on now. Any questions?
During public comment, we can't ask questions.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There's nobody else on the
Thank you.
That it? We can call her back up and ask questions. That's it? No one else has any public comments? All right. So,
You're so right.
going, Sam.
Come to this meeting and get abused. So I'm glad you just gave your report because it's actually kind of in line with what I was going to talk about, which is Basin Park renovations.
Correct.
She mentioned, historical sites, authenticity, being outside, and Basin Park has all those things, I believe. So I've been in talks with Mike about potentially helping fund parks with projects for Basin Park again this year, like y'all did last year. It's a special place. It's the heart of the town. We have tons of outdoor events, venues, all kinds of stuff happening in the park all the time. We're in the process of securing about $70,000 from another person, very generous donor, for renovations in the park. Obviously, we're getting other donations from places like the Preservation Society and Daughters of the American Revolution and the Arts Council. So I feel like there's a lot of good energy going into the park. But we want to continue that trend moving forward because there's obviously a big elephant in the room, and that's what's happening underneath the park. Since I started, we've already seen the fountain sinking more. It's getting to the point where it's like, we're going to have to do something. And I'm working on putting out a request for proposal for just any kind of contractor within the area, I'm guessing regionally, to see what kind of options we have. I'd like to know financially what we're kind of looking at getting ourselves into. That said, I'm just really hoping that y'all are open to the idea of helping us out again, because I think when we work together, we can do more as a town. We all have a little bit, but if we put that all together, we can do a lot. And right after y'all's successful campaign to stay alive, not the Bee Gees, I think it'd be a really good, just like cherry on top, just to like ram it home to the people who wanted to abolish the CAPC, to show them like, hey, we can work together and we're doing good stuff, and we're a benefit to the town in more ways than one. So yeah, so thank you. I'm Sam Dudley. I'm the Parks Director. I don't know if I know everybody, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna go hang out with more Christmas lights.
All right.
Hey.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
That's awesome.
All right. So any more public comments? Are we done? All right. Thank you. Old business, auditorium renovation, city payment. I'd asked Ty in the past. We're paying, I think, $44,000 a year to pay back a loan to the city. And since we do have money in the bank, and I asked, is there any advantage to paying that off earlier? Why are we paying a loan when we have money? And is there any, what's all this about? This started before I was on the commission, so I don't really know what the loan, I know it's for renovations to the auditorium. That's all I know. So Ty?
It was, Mike, you want to speak to the renovations that money went for? Or?
Yeah, well, obviously, one of the things we're looking at is the renovation of this downstairs area, which was key to what we're doing. The accessibility for the Americans with Disabilities Act was one of the big focuses, so we actually have a very serious elevator over here. That was a big advantage to us, to be able to have that. The other side of it was just the infrastructure improvements with plumbing and some of the electrical engagements that are happening down here. And then we've done some sound absorption, the panels that you see up here, which are not necessarily hung properly, but they are up there. We are able to look at the walls now that were not painted very well, so that took some time and effort, the hanging of the screen. But there's a lot of infrastructure improvements that went on down in this area that was approved back in 2020, I guess. Some of those have been in the design works for quite a while. One was the access downstairs via an elevator in some way, shape, or form. So that was accomplished. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was going to cost the CAPC a pretty substantial amount of money, and we would have to budget $44,000 a year for the next 3 years or so each year. And by going ahead and taking care of that out of reserves, that meant that we did not have to take $44,000 and put it on the not monthly, but the yearly budget.
Right. And I think it was originally thought out to break it out by year because it was part of the budget, and so it wouldn't be one big chunk. But if we're going to pay it out of reserves, then there's no reason we couldn't pay it off if you decide to.
Is there any advantage to doing that for us?
Not really.
Interest?
I mean, we would make interest on the money in the bank, so.
How many more years we have left on the loan? Do you know?
3 more years.
3 more years?
This was our first payment this year.
What is the return on, what's the interest?
I'd have to look it up.
Could be a good amount of making money. Could be a good
in
amount.
the money market, it might be, yeah.
So anybody have an interest in us paying this off sooner, or shall we leave it as it is? Any thoughts?
If we leave it as it is, then it's got to come out of the operating budget for that year. And that's $44,000.
So you recommending we pay it off?
Yes,
Or we could take it out of reserves each year, so.
that's true. Yeah.
Take it off what?
absolutely.
The reserves each year?
Oh. Is there a disadvantage of doing that, taking it out of reserves each year?
No. I mean, like I said, we could make interest on it. It doesn't show me what the interest rate is on the statement.
About 1.5%.
Would that payoff need to be included in next year's budget? Or do we have a line item that can satisfy that amount? Did you hear me?
We're proposing that we take it out of the budget and take it out of reserves instead.
Yeah.
And so the option to be, if we do that, we can pay it off in one lump sum, or we could pay it annually out of the reserves. So,
I think if we're paying interest, we should pay it off.
Are we paying the city interest on this loan? Or are you talking about the interest that we make on the money in the bank?
I don't think we're paying interest, but I'll have to verify.
Yeah, he's talking about the interest that we make on the money that,
In the bank, in the,
Oh, okay.
if we're making money on the bank, the money in the bank, so.
I agree, Mike. We should just go ahead and get rid of it.
Anybody else have any ideas?
I have mixed thoughts
Maybe
on that.
one less thing to worry about.
I have mixed thoughts because interest accrual is nice.
Yeah.
And that all depends on markets and things too, which should be going up some for a little while. But that's not certain, so I don't know.
And it's just 44,000? Is that what it is?
A year,
I don't think we
a year.
Oh, the payment is 44? For how many years?
Three more
Three.
years.
More years? So then we'd be paying 132,000. Okay.
So what is the payoff amount if you pay it off now? What was that?
44 times 3?
Oh, so it is, okay, so, all right.
132.
It's the same,
there's no-
same either way. There's no, like, we're not accruing more interest or anything, waiting, or we're not cutting anything or doing any
There's no advantage
major
financially
advantage one way or the
to pay it
other than what the interest accrual is.
off. Y'all want to just think about this for a little bit? Maybe bring it back up next, can you put it back on the agenda for next month?
Table it.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all want to make a motion to table it?
Let's make a motion to table that until the next meeting.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. So this will be put back on the agenda for next month. I like financial issues to have a while to think about it, and explore options. All right, next, number B, under 9, old business, is budget. Heather?
We need to talk about the budget. When are we going to do that?
We're actually still working on budget. One of the things that, and I mentioned this a little earlier with Madden, that's almost 50% of our budget, and we're trying to make sure that when we bring that full proposal back to you, that you really have an understanding of what's going on within it. I'll just give you a little bit of a preview. One of the recommendations from Madden for 2025 was to increase the actual spend of media from approximately $500,000 to $700,000. So that's a $200,000 spread.
Sure.
And we've asked them to go back in and say, okay, what are you going to do with that money? How are you going to go ahead and spend an additional $200,000? And we'll have that report next month when they finally put it together. There was some other areas of interest that we were looking at, specifically the areas of public relations. We've gained so much from PR. They did not increase that. The money, the actual percentage went down, but I've asked them to take a look at that again because it seems for every dollar we spend in PR, we get it back times 5. I mean, it's a big, and don't, please papers. Don't quote me on that. But what I'm saying is that's been a substantial gain for us to have eyes on us, people like magazines like the New York Times, newspapers like the New York Times, other magazines and so forth, so pick us up. Those are great things to do versus having a single ad that may run once and then we don't know what necessarily the return on that has been. So those are the things that we're looking at within the budget itself. And then there's some other tweaks and turns and spins, particularly with this building, trying to take a look at those numbers for things like electrical, gas, sewer, water, all the things that add up that, go out all the time. And we're trying to get a better handle on that, even though I think we've got a good handle on it. The preliminary budget that we've put together and Ty's worked really hard on, has it where we're doing well. But we'll make those recommendations to you next month. There was a discussion about running a negative budget or a negative operating budget, and we can do that, but you won't like it. So let's make sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted.
When will we have the opportunity to suggest additions to the budget?
I think we're going to be able to send out the preliminary to you like tomorrow,
Okay.
and you'll have a long time to look at it and review it. We're that close to it. So we have a very, I'm trying to remember how many pages the Madden report is, but we'll send that document to you as well. It's about 62 pages, I believe.
Fun.
It's a long read. But we spent 2 hours with them last week. Upstairs, they brought the full complement of the team in. I think there was 5 Madden people here, and spent a lot of time going through every fundamental aspect of the budget from PR all the way through to creative services. So.
Is it helpful to make mention of something that Madden might handle? I don't know if it would be Caitlin or Madden. Well, an idea that I have is several A&P commissions or CVBs across the world. They have a repository on their website. So if groups are coming in or business owners, there's an event, there's a suite of social media graphics, and they can grab those and share them and socialize them on their channels. And I think that would just be a great resource for the community. And then we could perhaps test following up with a workshop to show the community and the business owners how to use these on their social channels. But I do think that is something that should come from our budget to support the community. And maybe it's a once a month theme. So I don't know if that's a Madden or a Caitlin, but just to put that on your radar.
It's actually a Madden and Caitlin. We were having that discussion today about SEO, as a matter of fact. Yes. And in the SEO meeting, we were taking a look at ways that we can share with Eureka Springs businesses how they can boost their SEO, better ways to utilize it. And there's a lot to it. Google makes things move, and Google changes things all the time. Yeah. And keeping up with Google is a chore unto itself. Fortunately, we have a young man named Ruben Batista that works for Madden, and that's what he does. And we're in weekly contact with Ruben on those things, and it's been a big asset for us. So we actually have some good content that we can share on a regular basis. And SEO is just one of those many little things that we can share. So that's an excellent point, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also think we should go ahead and put the budget back on the workshop for next month as well. People like Sam coming up and talking about wanting money for Basin Park. And I keep saying, let's do a line item instead of having people come to us all year long asking for a little bit more, is to get a better idea. They should solidify their budgets and say, this is what we need, the best of their ability. So having that back on the agenda for our workshop at least, and have them come to us, not just say, we want help with this. I want to see numbers, to put into the budget.
I agree.
Yeah. We can't do a budget if they can't tell us how much money they'll need. That includes any kind of arts or history museum or any of those folks that we have regularly given support to. They need to come up to us with a number for next year, I think.
I think we have about 50 or so line items within our budget, and we'll send this out to you. And Ty has done a really good job of breaking out each one of those line items in terms of what it is, what's behind the number or numbers that you see. And that'll give you some opportunity to make some notes and make suggestions or questions about anything that goes on. Just make sure that if you have questions, go ahead and pick up the phone and call me or Ty, and we can go over that with you. And maybe when we get back together, we'll have a pretty good idea of how to move it forward and get it accomplished.
Okay. The budget's doesn't have to be finished till February, right?
Right.
So we have till February to get it all done. Doesn't mean we can't do it sooner, but anything else on that? Cool. New business, funding request 2. I'm just going to pull up my phone. It's easier for me to look at my phone to do it. So,
Carving in the ozone.
I don't think she emailed them, did she?
did you email those?
Carving, it's on your iPad.
That's on the iPad. Okay. Let's look at the iPad. Meeting, carving.
Just takes a minute to load. Takes a couple of minutes to load.
There we go.
Yeah, we're
Did we mention we're getting Wi-Fi?
That we're getting an upgrade.
Fiber optics going in.
There you go.
David.
Okay. Why does it not even look like it's doing anything?
I don't know. At least I got this part.
Oh, you got something going there. Okay. I'm going to try again.
Back out. Back out. Back out.
I've done things.
Yeah.
I'm running a speed test right now.
Yeah,
Wow, it's really bad.
It's really bad.
I don't know
My
why.
files, however
It's
you do
just
that.
right there.
Mine's not
It's
coming
not
up.
good.
Steve, if you want to use my computer, I think I have them open here.
Wow,
See ya.
I can't get it. Mine's- it should be fine.
Okay, we'll just wing it by who it is.
Hi, David.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
Carving in the Ozarks.
I'm David Blankenship. I started carving in the Ozarks in 2005, and we're celebrating our 20th year next year. After 11 years, I gave it to the fire department for a fundraiser for them because I was burnt out.
Oh, yeah?
Come 2022, they weren't going to do it, so I've taken it back over. I hate to see something that did so well for the community to come to a drastic end where what we actually do, we put a head in a bed. You put a head in a bed in Eureka Springs, they're going to spend some money somewhere. I owned a shop here for 25 years, Sleepy's Cabin Decor. And last year, I want to thank y'all for funding us. Y'all gave us $3,000 last year for advertising on social media and an ad in the visitor's guide. This year, we're asking for a little bit more. We have secured a new home for Carving in the Ozarks, and it is the grounds of the Great Passion Play. I've met with Kent Butler out there, and he's excited. He's going to help us do a little bit of advertising on his website as well. And we're asking for $5,000 for an ad in the visitor's guide, and the rest of the money will be used on social media. It's an event that it's grown every year. When the fire department had it, it went down a little bit. And I was involved with the fire department for a couple of years to get them trained on how to do it. And we're still growing. I've got carvers. I know carvers from Washington State to Florida State. And they're wanting to come to Eureka. And it's an event that actually, if they help us, like a local nonprofit, if they help us run the event, we make donations right back to them.
Steve, if I may,
Yeah.
I did a rubric, and I don't know if we got this around or not, might not have. But carving, with the number of visitors expected, somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 for about 2 days, The net of tax that may come back because of the event is about $27,000. So it's a big draw. The lodging is right at $261,000, but the food and drink is the thing that really rises it up big time. Almost $650,000 is spent on food and drink during that period of time just because of the sheer numbers of people that come. So it's a big event. It really does have a phenomenal generational effect because it spreads across a big demographic from young to old. And in terms of its possible, what we call, I guess, acceptance demographically, it scores about as high as anything, just because of the numbers of people that come see and want to take part of it. Then also the auction too, which does a great job. So it's a big event.
All righty. Anybody else have any questions?
Questions?
Comments? Do I hear a motion?
Just confirm 5,000. I make a motion to approve $5,000 for carving in the Ozarks.
Oh, come on.
Second.
Really? All right. Heather made the motion, and which one of you? Bradley seconded it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Looking forward to it.
How do I get to the next one?
Part of Eureka is
I've got it
Part of
here.
Eureka. Okay.
next. You got it?
We're just going to trade.
We're going to share. Heart of Eureka.
Pardon me.
Oh, excuse me. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Lacey Moffett from Heart of Eureka. I am asking for $5,000 for our New Year's Eve celebration, the Bash with a Splash, new event this year. As Mike previously stated, the state of Arkansas is getting involved in this, and we are so happy about that. We're so excited to start this new tradition of people coming to Eureka Springs in that usually really dead week. We started thinking about this event last year because last year after Christmas, there were tons of people in town and they're like, what is there to do? We're like, well, you can go to a bar or, there wasn't anything to do. And all the other businesses saw this influx of people and we're like, we need to plan something for this weekend to further promote Eureka is open all year long. We don't stop in December. We don't stop in January. Even though it's icy and cold, we still want people here. So with the New Year's celebration, we want to continue that, to make memories for families and eventually have us be the New Year's celebration of the Midwest. I mean, we could really push that and become, a big thing here for New Year's. So anyway, the $5,000 that we're asking for would be placed in Facebook marketing, the Fun Guide, the Eureka Guide ads, and some live streaming. We're talking about getting live streaming from the YouTube event as well. So that's what the money would be used for. Any questions?
I don't have a question so much as a comment, and Mike can probably color this in a bit more. I just want to be clear that this is for the Christmas committee and it's not funding Heart of Eureka.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm with Heart of Eureka.
Yes,
But it is the Christmas committee. Yes, you're
just
exactly
for
right.
the community.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
And y'all are going to clean up the graffiti, right?
Pardon me?
I mean, the confetti. What is
Yes,
that? Yeah.
we sure will.
All right. City Council made a variance on the ordinance of no confetti just for this event. So,
Oh. Yes, and we appreciate that
Oh, that's nice.
because,
New Year's
New
Eve without
Year's,
confetti.
you have to have confetti,
Yeah.
and we will clean it up.
They're going to clean it up. All right. This is a first-year event, so we don't have anything to base on what happened last year.
No, and I just put estimates down. You know, we didn't have any kind of historical data for y'all, so, but with all the promotion, you know, the Basin, Crescent, and all of us are doing, and the help from the state of Arkansas, we feel like this will be a great first-year event.
Wonderful.
Just keep your fingers crossed, no ice. But we'll be down there even if there is ice, because, you know, we got to be.
What are they throwing off the basin? Water?
A bash with the splash. Yeah, you're going to have to come and see. Just come and see. It's going to be great. We'll have
No ice, but they're going
a
to
bunch
bring
of
ice.
people in the park.
If it's cold.
Also, some of the stores around the park are going to serve as warming stations, so our guests can come in. For instance, MJ's, Macarons, and Kendra stores down there, they're going to serve as warming stations, so you don't have to stand outside waiting for the bash with the splash to come down. You can go in their stores, warm up, and there'll be other stores along the street, but they'll be the main ones down there. So we're getting all the store owners involved as well, you know, just to warm up and have some hot chocolate or what have you.
And am I correct, it's already been approved for an open entertainment district so people can have drinks outside?
Not yet.
That'll be great. Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve $5,000 to go to the Bash with a Splash.
I'll second.
All right. Chair made the motion, Bradley seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank y'all
Opposed,
so
say
much.
no. Thank you.
you.
Appreciate it. All right. That's all the funding requests, right, Danielle? CAPC Commissioner Communication Boundaries, Mike.
I sent out to you all, excuse me, let me take that out of my mouth. One of the issues that we have to live by in government is Freedom of Information Act. It is basically the public's right to know. And when we are in public meetings, we really do need to be mindful of the fact that the public is aware and they know what's going on. Similarly, within commissions, all commissions, as stated by the Arkansas legislature, are subject to those rules of engagement. How do we communicate with each other? The basic rule of law goes back to a thing called ex parte communications, which is a Latin phrase for if you discuss something, don't try to sway someone's vote. And that is an issue that is held strong through parliamentary procedure, through Robert's rules, and so forth. The caution here is commissioner to commissioner communications outside of this room. When that happens, that is subject, very much subject to FOI communications and can be looked up at, or can be looked at. We know that to be a fact from our recent examination of another commission within Eureka Springs and the seriousness of those things. So the point is that it is best to limit that type of communication. Doesn't mean you can't. What it does mean is that anything that is discussed that could sway a vote one way or the other is really off limits. Can you have a public meeting or even a gathering of social intent, such as a Christmas party? Yes, you can. The legislature has determined that's okay. You just have to make sure that what you're talking about within that party is not going to be, again, swaying a vote or trying to influence a decision one way or the other. So that's pretty much the FOI rules and regs, and everybody's got a copy, I think, of the book now. And it's a.
Is ours to keep or just reference?
It's yours to keep, yes.
Thank you.
Now, I have advised commissioners in the past, if you have information you want to put out before a meeting, since we only meet once a month, that there's some issue that you want to bring up at the meeting and it's very complicated and you have a lot of documentation about it, it's my understanding you can send it to people. They can't respond. It can't be a discussion about it. And it's also good to put in your email saying, please do not respond to this. But, since we only meet once a month, if you hand us all a packet of information and say, I want to vote on this tonight, it's probably not going to happen. So, if you really want to be safe, is to send it to Danielle and Mike and say, could you send this out to the commissioners? And with a little notice saying, don't respond to this, because if any communication goes back and forth, even if you say, okay, I got it, that's communication. So even though it's not real technically going to, it might be looked at as swaying a vote if you're going to vote on it later, so we don't want to do that. So, Mike?
Steve, if I would, Robert Schmidt, one of our commissioners who could not be here this evening, did ask me to chime in on a letter that he did send me in regard to this, and I'll just use this one paragraph. He said, I'd like to remark that I will no longer read any emails sent to me directly from any commissioner except from the chair. We cannot communicate with each other by email unless it's an emergency. If it is an emergency, there's no need to do so. Any communication should go through you, which I guess he was referring to me in the CAPC office. I hope this is understandable and all commissioners will obey and communicate by the law. State law prohibits commissioners from discussing commission matters outside of meetings of the full commission. What it really means to say is that you can't, again, sway the vote. So.
Yeah. But do you think it's okay to send information to each other just as long as we don't talk back, or do you think it's iffy on Robert's rules? I don't want to break any rules. I also want to make sure our meetings happen in timely manner, and since we only meet once a month to make decisions, any information that we want to share about anything coming up in a meeting, I want that to happen as well. So. Well,
the old saying goes is err on the side of caution. Mm-hmm. So if you think that there may be a problem there, just don't. Okay. Communicate it through the CAPC office, and we can disperse that. We won't disperse it, but we'll convey that information to the commission.
Right. I hate that we operate in this area of fear that we're going to get in trouble, and I don't want us to be in trouble. But
I think that pre-reads are reasonable, that they usually happen across all industries for meetings. And to your point, we meet once to twice a month, and one of those meetings is a workshop, not a meeting. So when we're discussing things that it's so much more convenient to have a pre-read in order to go into the meeting informed rather than learning about it for the first time. I'd also point out Mr. Schmid was upset at our last get together because he didn't get an email 24 hours in advance and didn't have time, in his opinion, to prepare. So we're kind of, it's one or the other, it can't be both.
Right. So if a commissioner decides they can't make it to the meeting and they text me, is that a violation of Robert's rules? Mm-hmm. Okay. Nope. So it's not about an issue. He's not trying to sway a vote. Mm-hmm. They're just telling me, just make sure you know I'm not going to be there, so don't hold up the meeting. So, okay.
I think with Mike saying just a word of caution, just if you're going to send information, the way I see it, that Mike is saying, don't do it to persuade a vote. So I would just provide facts, but don't provide opinions that will sway somebody.
And nobody else respond back.
Yeah.
But I would say too, and it's definitely not Mike, but some people might say, I don't want to go in through the director because I don't want to feel like the director is looking at this and saying, no, I'm not going to send this, or I don't like this, I'm not going to send it out.
Yeah.
So it's also the free sharing of information as long as we don't violate the rules. Okay? Anything else? C has been pushed back to the workshop. D on number 10 is CAPC staff transition from hourly to salary. Mike?
The situation we've run into, and maybe just because of the fact that we are very busy, is we cannot accurately budget for overtime. We don't know what that number is. There is a composition within federal work law called non-exempt or exempt, and what that amounts to is that a salaried individual up to a certain point is basically exempt from overtime. You are given enough money, hopefully, that accounts for time that you would work. So what we're proposing in the 2025 budget is moving the salary level up to a level where employees would be exempt from overtime, and hopefully that will sort of help us better budget, that one number that we put down on the sheet. And this year, I really can't tell you how many hours of overtime had been put into place, but it was substantial. And we know that, again, because we are so busy, that we've got to not only take care of our employees, but also it raises tax levels, it does all kinds of things that kind of throws us out of whack. So our 2025 budget will have basically a line that basically in essence says that all employees are exempt from overtime. But we'll raise that level of income up to the point where it would have compensated generally for most of those hours that might have otherwise been used. So.
Have you all already come up with salary amounts and what those packages include and everything? Because also with salary exempt, I assume also comes insurance and other benefits that
Yeah,
come along
there's
with
a
it.
couple of things that went on this year. Number one, the city's insurance premiums did go up. And for our employees, that meant that they would, the city actually would be spending more money on them. The other thing that is a factor, too, is anything that goes into, for instance, a retirement fund. Some of the employees, including myself, do put money aside, and we put into the city's IRA, or whatever that fund is, 401k. And Ty's done an analysis and breakout of that, and he'll go ahead and send that out along with the budget proposal that we're putting together, so you can see that breakout and how it affects everybody.
It seems to me with the scope of all of your jobs and what you do that it doesn't make sense to not be salary exempt, where you can plan accordingly for the financials. For that, you all do things that are way outside the scope of an average hourly job, so it doesn't make sense to continue having hourly folks getting overtime.
That's the welcome to Tourism 101. You do these things primarily because you know that it is a 7-day-a-week job in times. And if you're at a trade show such as Jana and Danielle go to, it's a Saturday, Sunday perhaps. And then you're traveling, you're doing those things that, basically you're doing it because you work for the organization. And you're kind of... You kind of understand that going in, but you're exactly right, Shira. It's not necessarily an 8 to 5, 40-hour-a-week job all the way because we do things.
It just doesn't seem to make sense. You all do things way beyond just following some steps of hourly tasks.
Well, we sign on says you will love your job. Yes, you will.
Or else. Heather?
This falls under that, and this is my oversight. Perhaps I should have talked about this in old business with budget, but I guess it is old and new. I actually had a presentation about the bonuses for next year that we were tabled to this meeting, but I don't know whether we should discuss that now or at the workshop with the budget. I defer to all of you, but in the spirit of transparency, I did want to mention that I have it, and it is something that I still plan to discuss with the commission.
I like to put this on the workshop as well. Any financial decisions, I like time to think
I think
about.
also tabling that until Robert and David hopefully can be available
I
might
agree
be a
with you.
courtesy that they would be really happy with.
Yeah, and Colin, I
Oh, and
agree
Colin,
with you.
oh my gosh.
Given there's only 4 of us here, I feel more comfortable having all of us, so thank you.
A motion to table this for the workshop?
I'll make a motion to table the
Second.
bonuses.
Shira made the motion, Bradley seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, say no. This will be added to the workshop to discuss part of the budget process. And we'd want to see numbers and stuff too, of course, then. And I like the idea of having more commissioners here. So, all right. That's all of our agenda, unless I'm missing something or I skipped something, unfortunately.
Permission to speak?
Yes, you may.
Who all is salary right now? Or is everybody salary and then over a certain amount is overtime? So you're the only salary. Okay,
big-
you're the lucky one.
Just a big
You are number one.
Like you're the lucky one.
Fine.
He's like, yeah, Brad. Yeah, I've been salary all my life. It's not always fun. So yeah, I understand.
I like the parameters of what does that mean if you work 60 hours one week, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I just think in positions where you do need to come and go, if you have a family emergency or something else, you should be able to kind of move more fluidly, especially when you're making decisions about how things go. And this is not a stationary, again, it's not a job. You're all doing a career where you're thinking outside the box and moving accordingly. And that requires some flexibility that comes with a salary versus an hourly wage.
flexibility is probably going to be a big part of it. But we'll talk about it next month.
We do fill out, each of us, even salaried, and that includes me, we do fill out a weekly timesheet or a biweekly timesheet. And it does account for instance, sick time and holiday time, things that basically, would affect some of the categories of which you do get paid. But that has to go in every other Monday morning by 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning or something like that, so that the bookwork of accounting at the city can be prepared. So there is always a timesheet of what has gone on and who's done what.
Okay. As again, we'll talk about it at our workshop. Thank you. Commissioners' comments. Shira?
Surprise. Well, sorry to Colin for leaving him out when I was explaining who was not here. Apparently, I'm not paying attention.
He said he's going to watch this later. So.
I know, he's probably going to not call me because that would be not appropriate. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This was a good meeting. Quick, efficient, and I don't have anything
Great.
to add.
Bradley?
I have a couple of things. I got to figure out how I want to word it, though, because I did speak publicly at the hospital commission meeting a couple of days ago. I did make a comment during that said the commission had the power to dissolve the commission, so I'm going to set that straight. The city council has the right to dissolve the hospital commission. But I just really applaud Mike and appreciate him reiterating the FOIA, the laws, the things that have a necessity to be followed when it comes to every commissioner. No commission is exempt from following the laws. The only thing that I can find is certain exemptions when it comes to the care and safety of the privacy of information for patients in the medical and healthcare field to protect them. But anyway, I just really think that we need to get more serious, CAPC, but as a city government, just basically just putting that out there and reiterating that we need to get back to the basics. We need to do the right thing. We need to have high integrity. We need to be honest. And then if we don't know the answers, we need to understand there's no shame in not knowing the answers, but the shame lies in not finding out and holding yourself accountable to ask questions and find out the proper way to do things. I do appreciate all of you being here who are here publicly and who commented publicly. I wish the commissioners who were not in attendance well for their families, and for any reasons that they could not be here, I just wish them well in that regard. I appreciate the ones that are here, appreciate the chance to discuss things and to make decisions based on the best interest of the community, as well as advertising for the community. And I don't think that bringing up the hospital commission and the fact that I'm advocating for justice and for the things to be done correctly is wrong for our meeting, because we advertise and we promote this city, and that hospital is also a means of advertising and promotion for the city because of the care that it gives to those who visit this city. And if we can't be, honest in our dealings of taking care of individuals that visit our city from a healthcare standpoint, then that may drive tourists away, and we really need to pay attention to that and get serious about it. So, thank you.
Heather?
I was also at the hospital commission meeting, and Bradley's comments were fire. First, I want to back up for a minute because this was in the papers, but this is our first meeting since the referendum vote, and I want to thank the voters of Eureka Springs for voting to keep the CAPC. But I also want to thank the CAPC staff who conducted themselves with utmost class, grace, and professionalism in the face of potentially losing their jobs in the new year. So thank you all. You did not skip a beat, and you served our town really well.
Yes.
Thank you. I am so humbled, and just, it really is such an example. So thank you. I also just wanted to say I saw the Madden report. I'm sure it'll be up on the website for those watching. Where it says, where the community has said, oh, why don't you advertise in New York? Why don't you advertise in California? To the prior point made about PR, a lot of the visitors came from New York City and California to our websites recently, thanks to the PR efforts and the organic social media and the SEM and the SEO. It is working. And so for anybody that has questions, to Bradley's point, and they don't quite understand how all of it works and the terminology and the jargon, please reach out to the CAPC office to learn. It really will serve you well to ask the questions versus going on social media and making assumptions that are just untrue. Thank you all again. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Our next meeting will be December 19th, right? 4 p.m. for a workshop, 6 p.m. for a meeting, so we're combining the two. As a reminder, City Council will meet in January and appoint 2 City Council members to this commission. It may or may not be David and myself. So it may be 2 commissioners. And this commission, on the first meeting in January, will pick new officers. So people need to think about that as well. So.
I don't know how we found out about that, and I do want to tell you that it was awful being the first because both of you totally did fantastic at your commissioner comments, and mine were so lame. Bummer. I said in my heart what she said and what he said.
All right. Chair comments still. Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to also thank everybody who voted their vote of confidence for us, but we all know no commission is perfect. This commission is one of those. We'll strive to make it better. And I think ever since I've been on here, I think we have strived to make it better every meeting, every year. And I'm sure if I'm back on here next year or not, I'm sure you all will continue doing that. All right. We have, anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Shira made the motion, Bradley seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.